Don't crash. Please don't crash. I didn't crash. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not going to crash. It's Thursday, June 11th. I may have to go get the dog's bed. I'm now live. Sweet. Sweet. We're going to monetize this mofo. My apologies about yesterday. I don't know what happened. I have no idea. But I do know I crashed. So it is what it is. We'll go live chat. And morning, Chris. What up, WV? What up? This one down 21%. You know, somebody asked me, is this one or Zap? Is Zap a hold? Buy and hold after it went crazy yesterday? No. Some of these you just have to figure out, okay, am I in this long? I mean, PSIX, probably not a bad one to stay long on, but let's see. I'm going to go to mine. And we have CPI data coming up in like 3 minutes, so whoop whoop. We're going to go live there. I should be live there. We're going to do some scans. I got a lot to go over. There's a lot, including 3 things. I mean, Delta, if you're not signed up for the Daily Stock Pick newsletter, I can tell you this one, I went over Delta, morning Lane. I went over Delta, 100% correct. Let's see what I said about that. Pepsi, I was 100%. This name is a long shot for any kind of 10% movement. At the moment, what makes me cautious about this are expectations and recent short interest. I'm completely, according to what I've read, implied move options 2%. It's down 2%. Delta Airlines. I hate owning airlines, but I do like trading. With that said, I'm not sure this is worth the risk. The weekly chart, a fairly consistent top at around 52 going back to 2021. That would present a fairly big upside. Add to that a higher expectation than last reported with earnings per share. I'm not sure it's worth the risk. Now, with that said, let's look at Seeking Alpha. They have it as a strong buy. Price target for Wall Street, $60. You're going to see that start to come down. If I'm going to trade this one, I'm going to wait until they announce earnings and trade a short-term chart like a 5 to 10-minute chart for short-term trades or the 4-hour for longer-term swing trades. Simple as that. And then I go over Wells Fargo. I go over JP Morgan, I think. I go over Citibank. And so if you like that and want to know, morning, Blake. That's the news. I mean, I'm going to brag about that one on the podcast. When I actually hit record, you can rest assured there's going to be some Jim Cramer gloating right here. Let me turn down the air conditioning. Let me see. I got to respond to somebody asking about the 4-hour algo. Exactly why I would not trade with bots. I use find okay. My apologies. I'm going to turn on Do Not Disturb. Focus. Do Not Disturb. Yeah, CPI is in. Oh, let's see. We're going to go to Seeking Alpha, and we're going to go to news. They're not great at breaking news. It's not a website that you use for breaking news, but it's right in line, 0.1 versus 0.1. So let's see. I gotta put my notes in. We have a slower job market, 3% versus 3.1. We have a slowing job market, a falling consumer it says 3.3 versus 3.4 estimate. I don't know what to do. Morning, Steph. A falling consumer and an economy that should pick up with a reduction in rates. I don't see how they can't reduce in September or even July, because Powell said the danger is in waiting too long. That's my note. Morning, Star. My note is CPI data came in line month over month, 3% year over year versus 3.1 expected. So we have a slower job market. We have a falling consumer. We have a slowing job market, a falling consumer, and an economy that should pick up with a reduction in rates. I don't see how they can't reduce in September or even July, because Powell said the danger is in waiting too long. Morning, Eric. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. MicroStrategy splitting, by the way, 10 for 1, just so you know. We're going to put in this. I guess it's 3.3% versus 3.4 year over year. I'm just going to say came in line. I like CAT. The only thing you have to worry about CAT is the valuation and the growth, and that's I mean, CAT, like the PE's pretty good. The PEG though, forward is a bit expensive, and it's got to do with that growth. And so the revenue year over year is 8%, but the earnings per share forward long term is 5% versus the 11%. So I think it's the forward stuff. And so that's where I worry about CAT. When you go in, you look at Wall Street, it's trading at 328. Their price target is 347. So it's a 5% upside. But again, you know, I kind of worry about that, just that price point there. I think you'll be good, Steph, from a short-term perspective. God, Pepsi? Did Pepsi really trigger a buy yesterday? I guess it did. Deere is one, I think the 52-week lows, the 8 stocks that hit a 52-week low. I got a bunch to go over, but I also got 8 stocks that Kramer thinks will hit the $1 trillion mark. So let's see. Pepsi. I got a bunch of ideas too. So it's not just, oh my God, here's some articles this morning. FYI, I bought more NVIDIA. So I did. I bought a ton more. So again, don't buy it just because I bought it, but BITX. Oh, let's do crypto. Yeah. Crypto. Hold on one second. Sorry. I had to ask. I have to stay on camera or else people start leaving. Okay, we got Bitcoin. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Covered call ETFs. Let's see. I probably should call. There's nothing in there, so I don't have to worry about that. Energy names. At some point in time, energy picks up. I mean, at some point in time, that energy name picks up. UMDD. ETFs. UMDD. Is that the short Russell mid-cap? Ultra Pro. Interesting. Low cost Vanguard. Anything there? BBK. Let's see. Low cost ETFs. VBK. Dun, 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 dun. I was on Spaces yesterday. I'm going to be on Spaces again today. I get like a couple hundred new followers every time I'm on Spaces. So I don't mind doing it. I just don't want douchebag followers. And who am I kidding? I am the number one douchebag, so. There we go. Watch list. BKNG. G Healthcare. This is one that I called out that I thought was an $80 stock a while ago. I think you get that gap filled. I think we were trading back here around earnings. And it was like a 70. And I said, I think it's an $80 stock. And it popped up. And now it's come back down. And that 50-day looks like it's trending a little bit well. So URI. I don't know what URI is. I built this list, the watch list, off of Seeking Alpha. Oh, this is United Rentals. That's an interesting chart. Let's check the Dow. Bum, 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 bum. 10% of the Dow. IBM, MRK. Let's check the NASDAQ. They're quiet. Yay. So much for that. LIN, Micron, AZN, CDNS, Paychex, Regeneron, Picard, Walgreen Boots, Excel Energy, and GE Healthcare. Okay, I have that one. Let's go to the S&P 100. I mean, what's interesting is it's definitely expanding. Oh my God. BMY, TMO, Medtronic, Danaher, MetLife, GM, Jim Cramer's favorite, and Home Depot. Okay, let's go to the strategy tester, and we will go to the 4-hour algorithm. Yeah, you guys are degenerate, Star. We talk politely about people. I don't call you douchebags. I call you degenerates. CrowdStrike. I mean, honest to God, I'd probably think about selling. Here's Robert, what you have to think about. And this is what I think about when I think about these stocks that are in the 4-hour. Now, the 4-hour algorithm over 2 years, 24 and a half months, it doesn't work great in CrowdStrike. It actually, you're even versus buying and holding, you're 107%. Okay? It's a cybersecurity stock. That is a very, very good cybersecurity stock. I think you're trading sideways here. Am I certain that you shouldn't get out? I mean, when you look at that volume, there's no volume between 372 and 350. So as you start to get down towards that 372, what I would do, Robert, and here's the way I use I just got this question on Instagram. How do I use this 4-hour algorithm? Let me just tell him that I'm on there, just so he knows too. Live on YouTube if you want to join right now. There. Okay. So here's the way I use the 4-hour algorithm, and this is my way. This can be your way. Again, you have to develop your own system. My system is just there to support you, and if you don't have a system, to maybe give you a leg up when you start. But CrowdStrike for me and the cybersecurity names, I look at them as finding entries rather than exits. And so when the 4-hour algorithm, when I don't see it really working with the actual stock, I say to myself, do I want to hold this short term or do I want to hold this long term? And hopefully you've identified that before you actually buy. In my mind, CrowdStrike is one of those stocks that I don't mind holding. But if I've got a solid gain in it, and I do have a solid gain because I'm in at around $300. And I said buy this under $300 back here in April. And I was transitioning between Palo Alto Networks and CrowdStrike. So I have a good gain in this. I think it's in retirement accounts. So I'm looking at the potential, but I don't know if this gap gets filled down to 349. That's why I'm saying if you want, I would probably put in a stop loss at 370. Right now you're up. You're at 377. I don't know what's going to happen when the market opens. But I think if you put that, if it's in a retirement account and it's not a tax event, I would be probably putting in that stop loss at 370 because I think you'll be able to buy it at 350. And then you just start adding to it. So that would be kind of the way I would play CrowdStrike. And hopefully that gives you an idea of how I use the 4-hour algorithm. I go over it every day. There's a lot of people who ask me, what indicators? I don't use. I use MACD, I use RSI, I use everything that you see. It's not like I go to a different screen or a different search engine or a different tool when you're not looking. Everything I do on here is how I manage my portfolio. And I have made close to 7 figures just since May 1st. I figured it out just since May 1st. It is crazy, and it's all Apple. I mean, it's Apple, it's NVIDIA, it's that whole, Mag 7 trade. So, So, Robert, hopefully that answers your question. Bull Z. That's a leveraged ETF. This is FANG, 3 times levered. I mean, look, this 24 months. The algorithm makes you 265%. Are you upset? Because the asset actually makes you 440%? No. This is when you know you're in a bull market and you want to, and it's concentrated like this, you could buy this thing. Is it too late to buy this at 198? I don't know. I mean, you're still in. You still have confirmation. So that's Steph. I mean, I think this is on our, it's on the leveraged ETFs to trade. So, I mean, if you got this on April 25th at 103, you've doubled your money just since April 25th. Hold on. Okay, you can push your way in here. The door is not closed. The door is wide open. You didn't need to sit there and cry. Come here. Did I hurt your feelings? Come here. There you go. Did I hurt your feelings? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You can sit down. I think, Miss Maya, I heard that ball being thrown. So, let me turn down the air conditioner. There we go. Ooh. TQQQ, Scott, I got to tell you, I know there's a bunch of people who played TQQQ. I wish I had. You made a funny comment about talking and no one listening. I mostly follow alpha picks and core portfolios, so I don't really need to listen. However, I love your show every day. It's fun to sit. AXP earnings in a week, like that. I like that, John. I like that gap. She was crying. The door was wide open. She's sitting there crying. I don't know why. I have no idea. Oh, there's her friend to lick her face. Sorry, we're having dogs run around on the floor here. We got past 500 on the Qs. Okay, let me start opening up some of these links that I have. This is the Pepsi earnings we're going to go over. I do have to get a link for the Delta earnings, I think. Yes, let me just get a link for the Delta earnings. There we go. We're going to put that in. Okay. And there we go. And there's the Delta earnings. We've got Broadcom price target raise. We've got two other stocks that Seeking Alpha folks recommend. I've got Kramer said these stocks. Let me see. Twitter. I think Evan was the one who posted this. He's got great news. Evan is hosting live now. Evan. There he is. So I think, you know what? I think I reposted it. So let me see. I'm going to post this in the newsletter anyway. Jim Cramer, there we go. We'll open that one. Riker Strategy, 10-for-1 split. I posted yesterday. You could have gotten it yesterday as the algorithm gave me alert at 4 p.m. It's great. Google backed out of the HubSpot acquisition, so hopefully you guys saw that. If you're invested in it, Apple, huge. Industry leaders that hit a 52-week low. This is super interesting. It's a thread. It's Deere, McDonald's, Paycom, Nike, Winnebago, Brown and Foreman. I mean, take a look at those businesses because, it's a pretty good one. Biggest movers of the day, Costco WD-40. How that one moves 10%, I don't know. But I did call it. My Nostradamus hat was on. The market is crazy. This is nuts. We have surpassed, from the COVID high to the 2021 high, we have surpassed that. So CPI data, we'll go over. I nailed things, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let me look at your comments. Scott, anybody that predicts stuff, I mean, it's just hypothetical stuff. I mean, yes, I have a good sense of things that happen, but I've been preaching be patient. And shit, I made 6 figures, almost, mid 5 figures yesterday. So, it's a bull market. Stay in it. I don't know where it's going. I mean, honest to God, I just have no. You got a president who is being called on by everybody to step down, and it's a failure of the entire system for the last 4 years. You've got a Republican that nobody else wants, but they're just choosing him because the other guy's so bad. And anybody that's choosing Biden is just choosing it because Trump's so bad. Nobody wants either one of these two. So, and you've got, Senate hearings where they're going after Jerome Powell when this man has pulled off something that nobody thought could have been done. And that's where I kind of, I'm at a loss. Do I think we're going down in towards August? Yes. I think that the next few weeks of earnings, when you go to Earnings Hub and you look at the next few weeks, let me see, where is my Earnings Hub? There it is. And when you go to Earnings Hub and you go to, let's look at next week. Next week, you've got UNH, you've got Bank of America, you've got BlackRock and Goldman Sachs. You've got Interactive Brokers, which is going to be huge. You have this Aero Systems, which just jumped. ASML. That's going to be some, Taiwan Semi stuff. J&J, which has sucked of recent. You've got United Airlines. You've got Abbott Labs, which is healthcare. You've got Domino's Pizza, which is right in the consumer wheelhouse. You've got American Express. You got Travelers. You've got a big earnings. And then the week after that is the big ones. This is where you've got Verizon, you got Coke, you got GE. In the afternoon, you've got after the bell, you've got Microsoft, Google, and Tesla, Visa, Chubb. And then here you've got IBM, ServiceNow. You've got Thermo Fisher, MasterCard. And on Thursday, I don't know where Apple is, but you got Exxon here. But you've got, this is enormous earnings. And I said it before, anybody that misses at the slightest bit or God forbid, if they guide lower, you're getting killed. You're getting absolutely killed. It's price for perfection. So my guide is just to stay. Here's Apple and Meta and Qualcomm and ARM and Amazon and Intel, AMD. God, it is, it's a little bit intimidating, but where we're going, I just don't know. All I know is that you got 2 green candles. You got an RSI at 82. We'll go over all of this, but no, Evan, no. Here's the deal, Evan. So don't have FOMO. And this is a $6,000 portfolio. If you are, I would get your skills up with FinViz and a free trading tool, Evan. Do not pay for tools at that portfolio. because you know you really want to grow it. And I will guide you in the fact that probably half of that, at least 50%, if not 60 to 70%, should just be in the Qs. And trading that little amount when you need to build that amount. If you're at that amount, you really want to build this thing, and you want to build it in a systemic way. So pick your winner, Apple, Google, whatever, and you could probably throw money in there and just forget about it. But I often think about the Nifty 50 in the 70s, and if you don't know the story of the Nifty 50s, you can Google it. But it's a bit, and the 50 companies are just always in and out, but they got too big. And so now that you've got these $1 trillion companies, and we're going for $4 trillion companies, that's bigger than most economies in the world. And so you've got these companies that are $4 trillion. At some point in time, they become too big. And so, NVIDIA is a chip company that is turning into a software company. So they're transitioning. I still think it's a good value. I bought a bunch yesterday. It is what it is. But again, in my mind, I don't think you want to take the market seriously in finding opportunities rather than actually investing, Evan, until you get to that $25,000 mark, because that's where you get out of the PDT rule. So again, that's after-tax money. If you've got $6,000 in an IRA that you're trading, that's a different story. You can go in and out a lot. So AJ, Mara's just going to trade with, Mara's expensive. It's, I still own it at 26. It'll come back up. It's a hype stock. And I just didn't trade it correctly, but I've got okay, Hunter's here. Hey, Hunter. Hunter, hopefully you got the talk about the 4-hour algorithm. This is the 4-hour algorithm, by the way. All it does is it's just a strategy, and it points you in and tells you when to get out. And if you want a bot, you can hit this button right here on the bottom. You see Launches Bot. And Launches Bot will do it as a you can trade within a brokerage or something. I don't exactly know how that works. You're going to have to look that up. I provide the 4-hour. Everything that I do here is stuff that you see. I don't trade any automatic stuff. When I do a trade, you guys know about it. It's in Savvy Trader and it's here. I have it both places. Savvy Trader, it's in the trading portfolio. This is the core portfolio, but the trading portfolio, I absolutely make every time that I make a major purchase, it's in there. And the trading portfolio is the top 3, and the guys on the spaces yesterday were actually shocked. It's NVIDIA and SMCI. It's TQQQ. It's QQQ. It's 27 names. It's stuff that you guys would know that I've traded. So it's nothing that's crazy. Okay, let me hit record now since it's 9 o'clock. I'm going to start recording. Futures give back post CPI gains. Oh, it looks like it's heading downward. But, you still have stuff that's up. We'll go over this stuff. Okay. I haven't looked at charts. I haven't looked at anything this morning. I've been looking at news. If you're new here, hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribed. I'm here every morning. I will go over and brag about stuff on this podcast. Please know it's not me flexing. It is simply me being proud of the calls that I've made and the right things. I am wrong just as much as I am right. You should not follow me into trades. You should not follow my guidance without actually doing your own work. Where's that dog going? Hold on. Before I hit record, I got to check this. Okay, you're down here. Okay. Dog just started randomly walking around and she's going to get water. I worry sometimes. And Okay is in there with noise canceling headphones on. I think she's listening to me, or she's watching her comedy shows and giggling uncontrollably. I couldn't tell. Okay, here we go. Wow, markets are down. Markets popped on the CPI news and then came down. Let's look at that. Let me pull up a 5-minute chart and look at the after hours here. Wow, that was a quick one. That was a pop that lasted all of 20 minutes. Look at the volume. I mean, look at that volume. It wants to come right back down to 500 on the Qs. Scott, bad news like that is still good news. Okay. I'm not giggling. She's watching me. Okay. By the way, just so everybody knows, I should post this screenshot. Since December, she started trading around December in this one account by listening to me, and I sent her some of my triggers and stuff. She's up 103% in her account. 103%. She's doubled her money since December. I'm shocked. I have not doubled my money since December. I have done extremely well. Let me see. I'll tell you. My main account. Let's see. Because it will have updated for yesterday. So I can look at my year to date. She's up 103% year to date. Let's see what I'm up. Because most of you mofos don't stay around till the end when I check the indexes and stuff against my account. Okay, let's see. S&P year to date is up 19%. My main account, which at the 6-month mark was not beating the S&P. I think it was up 17%. Today is up 21.68. So I'm beating the S&P. I have not doubled my money, but I am beating the S&P. Okay. Pal's a genius. Huh? Oh, she corrected me. She's up 112. There's a delay if you didn't know. So I'm not dumb when you comment and then I say something. It's just the delay. Okay. Let's hit record. I hope I don't crash. If I crash, I'm coming right back, I promise. It crashed yesterday. Good morning. It is, what up? We're doing that for this week. What up? Thursday, July 11th. I know I praised patience yesterday and said you should be patient. And then we had a face-ripping rally. And then today we get CPI numbers, and all of a sudden within 15 minutes, the market pulls back. I said it before, I think the market wants to be at 500 on the Qs. And that's where it's pulling back to. And the Qs right now, in the pre-market, you're at 503. So, again, patience in this market. Does that mean you run out and buy stuff? I don't know. I bought a good mid-5-figure amount of NVDA yesterday. We'll kind of go over that. We'll go over the Delta and Pepsi earnings, which I called out in the newsletter. We'll go out over everything. Costco. I'm going to start out with 3 things I'm proud of today. My affirmations. The first is I nailed that damn Costco membership raise, and I nailed that exact stock price at $900. I am going to look to trim because I do think the consumer's getting weaker. And I think Costco, even though they raise the membership prices, I think I can easily trim and buy at a lower price. But that $900 sets you up at that price point now where that's the support level, wherever it shakes out to be. But that's the first thing I'm proud of. My second affirmation for the day, I nailed these Delta earnings. I nailed them. If we go back, okay, and we look, and I'll include all of this in the free newsletter. This is the weekend paid newsletter. And it was 5 things that every trader should do. And then I went over the earnings. Delta Airlines. I hate owning airlines, but I do like trading them. That said, I'm not sure this is worth the risk. The weekly chart shows a fairly consistent top at around 52. We weren't close to 52 at the time of this trading. We were at 46. Add to it the higher expectations. I used Earnings Hub, which is the best free earnings website. I don't like Earnings Whisper. I like earningshub.com. And what do you see here? The expectation was $2.37. That's higher than the 45 cents they reported last time. They did beat on revenues. Now I said, let's look at Seeking Alpha. They have it as a strong buy. And then my recommendation. If I'm going to trade this one, I'm going to wait until they announce earnings and trade a short-term chart like 5 to 10 minute chart for short-term trades or the 4-hour for longer-term trades. I'm proud of this one. Okay? The next thing I'm proud of is the first stock that I went over in this newsletter. It's PepsiCo. And I said this name is a long shot for any kind of 10% movement up or down. What makes me cautious about this one are the expectations and the recent short interest. And I go over, and again, that's using Earnings Hub with some of the news. Benzinga said, hey, there's 13% short interest in this. This is good. According to what I've read, the implied move on options is between 2 and 3%. We're down 2.5%. It's right in the middle right now. And I said, I wouldn't trade this one. I didn't like it. It's bringing all of the other stuff down. So if you want to read this newsletter, there are more earnings below. The regular newsletter is free. It is free during the week. It's the weekend newsletter, like things like this paid and education one, where it's charged. I've got more earnings in there for tomorrow, because if you go to Earnings Hub, what do we have tomorrow? We have the banks. We have JP Morgan. We have Citibank. We have Wells Fargo. I go over those. So again, that's in the paid newsletter. And the bank earnings start tomorrow. And I just went over on the live stuff. We got big news, earnings over the next few weeks. Huge earnings. And I will say it again. Just because Pepsi and Delta reported this morning, it was mixed and guided lower. Delta got killed. Delta is absolutely getting killed in the market. We can look at DAL. Here is the symbol. It is down 8.45%. They had a record revenue. So again, this one got killed. I will say that they did really well in the higher consumer. We'll kind of go over this. I'll wait until I go over the earnings. But CPI data came in, and it came in line. And then what happened was it came in line. We popped up a good 1%. And you can see, if you want to go look at the 5-minute chart in pre-market, you can go and see that pop for 15 or 20 minutes. And then it came back down. So it's just a market that the Qs want to be at 500. That is turning into where it wants to be. It doesn't want to go. The market doesn't want to push the Qs way up to 510 or 520 until we get some type of positive earnings or some confirmation that the Fed is going to lower. Powell said this. I think with this CPI data coming in to cool June, he said this. We have a slower job market. We have a falling consumer and an economy that should pick up with a reduction in rates. We have a stretched consumer. I don't see how they can't reduce in September or even July. Powell said it in his testimony. So they're going to have to lower. The lower end consumer, and that's where Delta missed, was the lower end consumer. They said there's a lot of competition there, and it's demand. Now, how hot is this market? This is crazy. TrendSpider posted this yesterday. We have gone further than we did from the COVID low. So if you look at this chart, what does this tell you? This tells you that March of 2020, the COVID low, to the 2021 high, where we saw a huge pullback, okay? This current move from the low of 2023, that was October 2023, up to today, is that move that we saw from the COVID low to the crazy high. Again, that tells me that inflation may be a little bit stickier, but they have to reduce those rates. Just to let you know, I was listening this morning, the Bank of America consumer check, household spending down for the first month in the last 4 months in credit cards. Again, a consumer is stretched. Now, let's go back to the first affirmation. Look at who raised member prices, and the stock was over $900. It's time to sign up for that newsletter. Again, this is Costco. This is a core portfolio name. It's down at $895 now. Got up to $900 in pre-market. If we just turn on this pre-market stuff in TrendSpider right now, and we go to a 5-minute, I will show you. Look, I mean, this was when they announced it. That candle goes to 926. Since then, you haven't had confirmation. You haven't had strength. You've had weakness in this stock. Tells me that when this one opens, you may want to look at actually trimming some because we have that news in the market. Any reaction in the market is an overreaction. This purchase at $882, if you bought it, I said, hey, this is a $900 stock. If you bought this stock at $882, in my mind, I think you're perfectly fine. I think you're perfectly fine at $882. If your time frame is 2 to 5 years, you're perfectly fine at that. It is expensive. Understand, it is expensive, but a $5 membership raise to millions of people is close to $1 billion in additional revenue, and that's going to take care of this growth. That is going to make the valuation be even lower. So yes, you're paying 55 times price to earnings. That will come back down. Probably, it's not going to come back down in half, but it will come back down to 40. This is the best retailer out there. This and Walmart. That's why both of those are in the core portfolio. But yes, I was Nostradamus. It didn't take a genius. Again, you just want to take a look at this stuff. It's the macro, the micro, the fundamentals, everything. It was the 4-hour algorithm that got me into Costco, and it's the news from Seeking Alpha that keeps me in Costco. Now, biggest stock movers of the day, Delta, Costco, American Airlines. You can see WD-40 advanced 12%, following it up to Upbeat. I didn't even know freaking WD-40 was a freaking public company until reading this one. Despite its price smart, soared more than 5%. Alco, which is AA. I always think it's American Airlines, but I forget that American Airlines is AAL. Biggest losers of the day, onsemi, fell 3% after Morgan Stanley downgraded them. That's a semiconductor name. Bit, maybe you want to take a look at that one. But again, biggest movers of the day. Now, let's take it some other stuff. Oh, before we go into this one, just to let you know, I may have said this, but I bought more NVIDIA. I bought more NVIDIA mid 5 figures. It was a big entry, not all at once. I staggered throughout the day. I think my average purchase price was around 134. Am I upset that I didn't get in at this 128? No. I told you I think that 140 is where we're going. I bought at this 134. I will add more if that 140 proves to be a resistance level. I will add more around that 120 price when it gets back down there. Their earnings are coming up in August. It's a long way away. This will get moved as people move out and take some profits here. I think you're setting up this nice shelf right here at about 120. These shelves up here are starting to build at about 130. Am I upset at buying at 134 instead of 130? No. If I need to, I will just add more. This is one of those names that I don't care where I add to it as long as I add to it during an upward trend. I can add to it during a downward trend too, but in a downward trend, I want to wait until it's in a positive territory. The MACD is going up, just crossed up. The RSI at 67. If you look at the weekly, yes, we are stretched. Absolutely, we are stretched. We've been stretched for quite a long time. That MACD, January of this year, it had crossed. It never really came back down until you got to April, where it dipped. And it dipped to $800 because that was pre 10-for-1 split. And then we took off. The valuation's crazy. It's just one I want to own. That's it. Now, this was interesting from FinChat on I will be on Spaces again today. Tune into my profile. Follow me on Twitter. It'll alert you when I'm live. And if you want to just listen to the recording, you can listen to it afterwards. But I'll be on live. I think it's at 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. today. I'm not sure which. But these are 6 industry leaders that just hit 52-week lows. So you may want to take a look at these. Deere, McDonald's, Paycom, Nike, Winnebago, Brown and Foreman. Again, these are industry leaders that just hit 52-week lows. He has the charts. You can go chart them if you want. But yeah. Now, I said I am, I don't know if I've made this public. Maybe I said this on just the YouTube Live. But I've had an incredible run since May 1st. An incredible run since May 1st. It's all Apple. Apple may ship more than 90 million iPhone 16s initially, Webbush says. That is an unbelievable. He has, Dan Ives, who is Webbush, has a $275 price target on Apple. Now, when we go and we look at Apple, the valuation on this company makes no sense. If they do ship that amount of iPhones, 90 million iPhones in 16, if that's the amount that they ship and they sell, that will be an enormous amount. That if you can't get a hold of a 15 or a 16 and you're rushing to buy the new iPhone because Apple intelligence is that crazy good, this is going to be better for the stock. The valuation is crazy. The growth, these are the two things that are holding it back. Now, Wall Street has a buy on it. Where's the average price target? I think it's 212. It's down 8%. You're at 232. But if you go to FinViz and we just look at the timing of this and we look at those, when people came out, the most recent ones are super, super bullish, and momentum is a strong force. So let's look at June. We'll go back to June, 230. June 18th, 245, 250. Now, reiterated maximum, douchebags, they're at 195. You ain't getting 195 on this stock again. June 26th, 260. June 28th, 250, 225, 260. I would argue that 215 is super, super low. And that's probably more your support level than it is the future price target. But again, Apple, am I adding here? I will add when they pay a dividend. Other than that, I've just got too much in this space. Now, Google actually wound up backing out of the HubSpot deal. HubSpot was down somewhere near 30% yesterday. Again, HubSpot is one, the quant has it as a hold. This was one that you were waiting for Google to actually buy it. And that was the upward trend that you were seeing. And you see the sell-off yesterday. Now, 1 year, you're down 7%. Year to date, you're down 15%. HUBS, do you want to get into this one? I personally don't think so. I think it's software is what it's categorized. Information, application software. Software's been a bit tough of a road, and it has been, a downward trend. And you can see, ironically, if you had the 4-hour algorithm, it got you out right before that news. It didn't know. It had no idea. You're up 73% if you bought this 2 years ago. So it's still, if we go to a weekly, it's still not got the full downside yet. It used the 200-day the last time here in November of 2023, but you've broken through it with this candle yesterday. Now the low is 455. You're currently trading at 492, which brings you back above this 200-day. Doesn't mean that the candle doesn't break it. It just means that the price action is above that on the weekly. We will close out the weekly tomorrow. So this candle deserves a little bit of spot. But if we're going to get back to the 2021 highs, that's going to double. So again, if you believe in HubSpot, you can look at it. I think this was basically made on Google buying them. Now, MicroStrategy, I got a text yesterday at 4 o'clock. This is the great part. About TrendSpider. You can set up where you get alerts. You get text alerts. You can get email alerts. If you're a boomer and you don't want to text, you have a flip phone and you can't get a text. You can get an email. But this is why signing up for TrendSpider is so good. If you want TrendSpider, again, there's 3 things that I mainly sell here. There is, and I'm an affiliate of, I should say. It is TrendSpider, and TrendSpider is $53 a month. $53 a month. You get my 4-hour algorithm. You get 65-minute. You get the 5-minute. You get all my watch lists. You get everything that I use is what I send you. So you go over to the link tree, linktr.ee/daily stock pick, and you sign up with that top link. And then my emails, send me a screenshot of your account, and I will send you back an email where you can import everything. I include videos where you can learn a little bit about how I use TrendSpider. I include everything like that. So again, that's the first one. The second one is Seeking Alpha. You see me constantly go to the quant rating. That's where you get $25 off your membership, your yearly membership. It is, again, these are the two tools that I use. Say you don't want to use your, anything. You want to just get hand-fed some stocks. This is the best portfolio I have found. It is 2 stock picks, one on the 1st, one on the 15th. So we got one coming up in 4 days. Look at the performance, 122% versus the S&P at 35%. It gives you 2 names. They tell you when to sell. If you want to see when to sell, what a sell actually looks like, then you can go back. And I think I put this on Monday. I put an example in the newsletter of when they tell you to sell, and they tell you to sell. So those are the 3 things that I sell. But MicroStrategy, I got a text yesterday. It said, buy at 1308. So let's go see MicroStrategy, because again, I use Seeking Alpha, and boom, I get an alert because MicroStrategy is on my watch list in one of my portfolios. MicroStrategy gets a 10-for-1 stock split. That was at 8 o'clock this morning. The algorithm didn't know it. 1308, let's see where you're trading right now. MicroStrategy is at 1396. It's up 6%. Boy, don't you wish you would have bought here at 1305, 1308? Again, the timing of the text and this alert, it just changes the price because the price is never actually set until you actually press the buy button. Simple as that. And you can see this 10-for-1 split. This is probably going to push this. This will trade. This is a leveraged ETF on Bitcoin. That's all MicroStrategy is. So, take a look at it. 10-for-1 split. That's pretty freaking good. Evan posted this yesterday, and I've been on Spaces with Evan. Fantastic, fantastic guy. I like the way he kind of puts things. He is very much a fundamental trader that looks at just stuff. Now, Jim Cramer posted 8 stocks that will join the $1 trillion market cap soon. It is Eli Lilly, Berkshire Hathaway, Tesla, Broadcom, JP Morgan, Walmart, Visa, ExxonMobil. That's his thought. And so, one that I'm big on, and that Seeking Alpha subscribers pitch, they pitched. I didn't get pitched on this one. I didn't get asked. But the 2 that may replace Tesla in the Magnificent 7, if Seeking Alpha subscribers had their way, it's AVGO, which I own, and Lilly, which actually is in the core portfolio. I don't own Lilly outright, and it's a regret that I have. Lilly is just this one that has gotten away. When I was pounding the table at 735, I thought to myself, God, I really should. But I chose NVIDIA. But I chose more Google. But I chose more Amazon. I chose more tech. I am much more a tech investor than I am a healthcare investor. So that's where it's hard for me. You want to know another one that kind of soared on some news? SoundHound. You guys ask me about SoundHound all the time. In fact, there might be a question about SoundHound in the social request. This one is up at 554. It's up 9.2%. Do you want to trade this one? I would argue no. I would argue this one is one. If you want to have some fun and play on a roulette wheel, that's what you do. But SoundHound went up as well. And mind you, this by the way, the Jim Cramer stuff, mind you, Cramer said he'd rather own Ford than Tesla. Maybe it was GM back on May 6th. And today he reversed himself, saying Tesla will hit a $1 trillion market cap without any explanation of how he hated Tesla. And the only reason he likes Ford is because he has Jim Farley's freaking phone number. That's it. That's it. Now, VST, this is a power company. I saw the CEO, Vistra Corporation. I like this one. Now, this chart is interesting. It is capitulating here. It is just setting up a nice shelf with the MACD resetting itself. 87.58 was the buy. Now, if we go and we look at VST in Seeking Alpha, this is how you use the tools. I should say this is how I use the tools. As we go and look at Vistra, it's up 0.42. Let's see. The quant says a hold. Why? It's because of the valuation. And if you go and look at the valuation, it is not making money. It is number 2 out of 5 in utility sector. If we say that the quant, maybe the quant isn't great. Well, the Wall Street price target, 108. That's a 17% upside. And is it crazy? No. Look, the stock has traded along the price target for a very long time. They just upped their price target and it hit that back at the end of May. So if you go and look at the summary here, we'll just look at the summary. 52-week range, it goes to 107.24. You're at $92. So in my mind, again, the valuation's a little crazy, but we go to look at the revisions. 3 up, none down. 2 up, 2 down on revenues. Now, Vistra, let's see, their earnings are coming up here August 6th. Dude, this is a Texas energy company. If they don't blow it away with this heat wave with revenues, I don't know what is. Again, that's a crazy one. Let's talk about Broadcom. Broadcom got a price target raise, $2,400. That's pre 10-for-1 split. It's trading at $17.44 right now, $17.61 in pre-market. This is one that I own. I was pounding the table and I was adding to this one. I have mid 5 figures in this one. And I own this one at about 1,300, I think 1,350, 1,360 maybe the price. But this is one where a 10-for-1 stock split is coming up. And that is coming up on July 15th. AVGO, to me, is just a buy. This, again, is a stock that Stephanie Link loves. She says, hey, it's not overvalued. The valuation here has it as an F. She thinks the growth takes care of the valuation. That's what Stephanie, and she's a value investor. When you take a look at the growth, they're growing 21% revenue year over year. Wall Street says it's a strong buy. The average price target, $18.82. That is 8% upside from where you are today. So again, take your pick. Now, earnings. Let's talk about earnings. Delta came in with just a meet and a lower guidance for the next quarter, and a meets for the long-term guidance. Again, they just the lower end of their guidance was for the next quarter. They are down right now 9.13%. Again, when I say that if a company doesn't knock it out of the park with their earnings, they're going to get hurt. Delta is getting killed there at 42. Let's take a look at this chart, because do we want to trade this at 42? I would argue Ed Bastian was on CNBC this morning. I like that guy. He lives here in Atlanta. I know people that know him. Really, really a very thoughtful CEO. Your MACD super low. Your RSI is probably going to come down from that 41, and you're at 42. You're way down here. I don't see where this stock actually starts to trade, other than you can see this one right here, this high. Let's just put this one, which provided pretty good resistance level at 42.26. That might be your support level because you're trading at 43.09. So I would say if you want to trade this one, maybe trade it there. It doesn't make sense. Again, they hit it. It was the lower end of the market. It was revenue per seat mile. The premium seat income was up 10%. The CEO said it was overcapacity of those low-end seats in the industry that killed it. Now, again, my newsletter pointed all of this stuff out, that I didn't think it was worth the risk trading. At this point, this may be a good buy because, again, that $52 provides you a pretty good upward mobility there. If we just take a look at this, and you can see this, that 52 is your top. You've hit it once in 2021. You hit it again in July 2023. You just hit it again in May of this year. That's the resistance level. I don't think airlines are investable. I think they're crap. I think you just trade them. So Delta, you can read all about that one. Pepsi falls after cautious outlook. Peers, Coca-Cola, and Keurig are down. Pepsi is down 2.81%. I own both Coke and Pepsi. If we just look at Pepsi, Pepsi has been a dying duck. There is nothing that makes me lose an erection faster than a dying duck stock like this. That is a horrible, horrible chart. And Pepsi should be absolutely ashamed of themselves. They're opening up below this 160 support level. I will be looking to trim this one at a very, very big way. I don't trust what they just said. That's it. Am I crazy for cutting it loose at this point? Maybe. But I have such gains in this because they are such long term. I am going to take that money and I'm going to throw it into something that's working. I'm not going to worry about, oh my God, could this come back up to 170? I'm not going to worry about it. The earnings came in. The catalyst is out there. Am I buying this one at this price? No. I want to know that the management will turn this around. Earnings per share. We can go over to Earnings Hub. Let's see. Where's Earnings Hub? Here's Earnings Hub. Let's look at the actuals. Okay, the actuals. Expected $2.16. They beat earnings per share by 5.56. They missed on revenue. And again, it's a bad guidance. That's it. They're down, 3.5% at open. That's not a name that you want to hang on to. Not at all. At least not me. Let's look at some social requests. This is from email. If you didn't know, Spotify actually has a comment and I can reply back. I can't ask you a question, but you can absolutely comment on Spotify. I have to look to see how it's working, but it's there. This is from Jacob from Facebook. I'm sorry, it's a message from Facebook. Thoughts on Cisco seems to be losing value over the past month or so, but I'm wondering if this will start to rise as we get closer to the next earnings. Seems to dip after a ex-dividend date, then rise on earnings. How does Cisco stack up compared to ANET? Are they in the same industry? I own both. I also own VRT. Apple is amazing lately. Yeah, I said my dogs are living their best life. Let's look at Cisco. And yes, I think it's the same thing as ANET. ANET's just a smaller company that's growing faster. And so that one's getting a higher valuation. Cisco, this is upper left to bottom right in this. Now you've got this gap here on earnings. It tried to fill it. It didn't. So you still have some of this gap up to 53 that's open. This is just one stock that doesn't want to get out of its own way. And what I'll do is I'll take this is, yearly. Okay, we're going to go back yearly because no, I'm not going to do yearly. Let's go quarterly. Quarterly should bring us back to 2000 with the dot bomb because that's what I want to show. If you go back here to 2000, this was a stock in 2000 that had $82 in it. Q1 2000, this was an $82 stock. This is what I talk about when you get too big. Okay, Cisco right now. I think you said VRT you have, but let's go and look at Cisco. Okay, Cisco right here. I think it's a hold in the quant. Yeah, it's a hold in the quant. The valuation is perfectly fine. It's the growth that's the problem and the momentum. This is upper left to bottom right, and you're at the bottom of your 52-week range. So in my mind, I think this is a tradable stock. I don't think you want to actually own this. And I would argue the algorithm, the 4-hour algorithm, it makes you 4.8% versus 10.7% if you bought and held over the last 2 years. So I would argue that even the 4-hour algorithm doesn't work. You can try the 65-minute, you can try the 5-minute. I would find something that actually works when you trade this. And because I don't want to spend 28 positions for 4.8%. There are better stocks out there. Now, ANET, on the other hand, this is one that's on the watch list. So if you're in TrendSpider, you can scan against it. You can find entries. I said this before. This was the trading range that was in. When it got here, it just broke out. 302.47. You're seeing the MACD cross down. You're seeing the RSI at 62. You're seeing that little button hook. Now, in my mind, I think you're probably coming back down here to 340 before you go to 400. But this is a good quality stock with good, good growth. And that's where you're seeing the difference. The valuation is a little bit bad, but this market will pay you for growth over valuation. Again, it doesn't want Cisco, who's perfectly valued. It wants the growth. And this is 22% year over year revenue growth. If we go and look at Cisco, they are growing at 0.85 revenue year over year. Now, it's two different companies, two different market caps. There's a whole different lot of things. But the market is paying you for growth over value. And that's what you want to do. Let's see. Jack, CLS, Diamond Hands. CLS has been this is Celestica. This is an AI, but this is just an amazing, amazing stock, Diamond Hands. It's at 61. The algorithm makes you 403% over 24 months, 22 positions. Unlike Cisco, where you're throwing in 28 positions to make 4%, you're doing 22 positions to make 403%. You're in this one at 57. It's at 61. Does it have more room to go? We can go and look. Look at how steep that is. Just since July of 2023. You haven't lost confirmation on this very much at all here on the weekly. You have confirmation completely on that one. Now, if we go over here and we go to CLS and we look at, it's a strong buy in the quant. Now, the valuation, C+. It's not great. The only reason is the price to book. Who cares? Who cares? You look at the growth, and it's growing really well. You look at the profitability, and it's got only a 10% margin. That's the only thing that's coming down on this one. But the momentum is A. The revisions, A. And we can go back and we can look. Let's look at the strong buy. When did it get a strong buy in the quant? It's been a strong buy, at least for the last year. At $14, the quant was recommending this. So, we can go and look at Wall Street. Wall Street, how many analysts? There's only 9 analysts that cover this. Now, they have a $50 to $5 price target, which is 10% down. Maybe you want to look at, again, Jack is looking at diamond hands. I don't think until this stock actually turns over, I don't think you get rid of it. I think once it loses its confirmation, that's when you start to get rid of it. But right now, it's still got confirmation. That MACD is low enough. You can see it popped up here to 61. I mean, that's where you're trading at right now. But again, if it's got the confirmation, it's got the move, I think you're fine. Hi, Gary. I'm currently holding Micron, MU, but lately it showed significant pullback and doesn't seem to go up anymore. Moreover, the analysts suggest to buy. What is your opinion? By the way, love the podcast from Diego. I like Micron. Now, I will caveat this. I don't own Micron. I don't plan to buy Micron. But when you look at the algorithm, it's in our scans today. It's got a buy here at 135. You've got a gap. Are we seeing a turnaround? You're seeing the MACD is down here. It's down below the oscillator. The RSI is at 49. It's in no man's land. I said before that 97 was going to be resistance. It popped right through there with those earnings two times ago. Now with this earnings, it wasn't as good as expected. This is where it comes into play. This is where you go over to Seeking Alpha and you say, okay, what does the quant say? What's the valuation? What's everything? The quant says hold. Okay. Yes, Wall Street has a strong buy. Why is the quant a hold? Well, it's because they're not making money. And that's the problem that you have with this company is the profitability. It's an 11% gross profit margin. They don't seem to have pricing power. And so, yes, Wall Street is saying it's a strong buy. That's based on demand. Now, it's a 19% upside. So Wall Street, there's 37 analysts. 25 have a strong buy. At some point in time, this one turns around. At some point in time. The quant, in fact, just has you as it says, there's the Wall Street analyst. But the quant, if we look at it, it's had it as a hold for a long time. So this has been a hold, but and remember what the quant is. It's just like an algorithm. It takes the input and puts it into some type of calculation and says, okay, that's here's your score, and you can see 3.49. It's come up from 3.48. This has been 3.48, 3.49 for quite a long time, and it's moving better. So do you want to buy this one? I'd say you have to know more about the business than I actually know. This is semiconductors. It's not something that I'm super knowledgeable about the specific ones that they do. But I hear the same thing you do, Diego, is that, hey, this is one to buy. Am I buying it? No. And I'll put that up there. I would much rather have NVIDIA than Micron. And that's just, hey, if I'm going to look at semis and I don't know exactly what they do, then I'm probably not going to buy them. But I can't argue that you're seeing the same mixed message that I am. If you want to listen to the algorithm makes you 68% versus 159% with just buy and hold. So at least the algorithm protects you. It makes half of what you make with buy and hold, but at least you've got some type of protection there if you listen to the algorithm. So that's my best advice, Diego. Jeremy, Gary, love the show. Congrats on success. Are you bullish on Taiwan Semi going into earnings? And if you could speak to a few downgrades on SMCI. Okay, so Taiwan Semi, they announced early that they saw record revenues. I mean, I posted it yesterday and what they saw. I'm bullish on this one. Now, Taiwan Semi from a quant standpoint, it's a hold. Taiwan Semi's a hold. From a Wall Street perspective, it's a strong buy. You still have 1%, 192. I think that they will probably get some upgrades here. I think they're going to announce forward earnings that they're going to raise prices. And I think that's exactly, sees price target raised at Bernstein ahead of Q2 earnings. This is today at 826. Let's see what Bernstein thinks the price is. Let's see. This is all about, on first 6 months. I can't do the trend, but take a look at this article. In Seeking Alpha, Taiwan Semi sees price target raised at Bernstein. If we go and look at the Wall Street price target, it's only 1% above. But again, I would argue that I'm still bullish on it. Am I going out and buying it, Jeremy? No. SMCI, same kind of thing. The one thing that I have to worry about SMCI, we can look at this one. The valuation's a D, the profitability is D+. That profitability is the problem. It's this 15% margin. And that's the problem because the sector's at 49%. And that if they are in a pricing war with DAL and HPQ, this stock will get hurt. It's still a strong buy in the quant. But that's the issue that you're seeing, is that this is a quant that rates it on 5. This is a 4.98. It's ranked number 1 in information technology. When you go and you look at Wall Street, the Wall Street price target is 1,032. You're going to see volatility around this. They are going to spend more money. SMCI, I still say that's a $1,200 stock in the push of some type of catalyst. We haven't had a catalyst. Their last earnings were just okay. Nothing spectacular. I think they even diluted, if I'm not mistaken, where they took more money on a bond basis or something. But again, you've got to understand that in my mind, I think this one's going up. I don't listen to a lot of the analysts that say, "Oh my God, it's going down." I like this quant rating. It's a strong buy. Everybody says on Wall Street it's a buy. I will wait if for some reason they get killed on the valuation and look at the PEG ratio, 0.79. If they continue to grow like they've been growing, again, you look at this growth, and that's 79% year over year. If they continue to grow the way they've been growing, I think that the stock will reward you. If, again, they have some type of competition, I don't know. Charles, this is another email. I started buying TQQQ in June per your recommendation. Dude, fortune favors the brave. That's a great one. In my retirement account, as of today, I'm up 13.5%, which I wish I would have bought more. You said we may want to get out by July 15th. Should I sell this Friday or wait till next week? So I always say, the biggest test is your lack of sleep. Now, do you want to get out on Friday? You're up 13%. Okay. You're up even more. TQQQ is down a little bit today. Here's the way I look at it. The June 6th, the algorithm got you in at 67. Okay. Let's see. If you had bought then, you're up 26%. Your average win in the algorithm is 19.4%. I would say anything between 26 and 19 from that point is pretty freaking good. And so for me, and again, Charles, this is me, I would lose sleep if I went into a weekend and I had a triple leveraged ETF that's based on the NASDAQ with bank earnings and all of these earnings coming up. I would probably take the profits. It's in an IRA. You can always buy back on Monday. You may miss some of the move, but you can always buy back in on Monday. The psychology is super tough, but the reality is, look at this. On the 4-hour, that MACD is way up. The last time it was up this high, it was at 3.4. This is at 3.0. Above the oscillator, everything's moving forward. That RSI is at 81. Do I think it's going up further? I mean, right now you've got all the confirmation in the world, but a triple levered ETF that you're up 13% on, and you're heading into a weekend when anything could happen. Biden could stumble and instead of ordering ice cream on a button, dude could launch a nuclear weapon against Russia. You don't know. Russia could, China could invade Taiwan. The Middle East, they may use a nuclear bomb on Gaza to say, hey, it's, Hamas was terrorizing us with some sticks. I don't know what's going to happen. Who knows? The reality of the situation is, for me, a triple levered ETF is not one that I'm comfortable holding over the weekend. So should you sell this Friday? It's completely personal. I will never tell you when to buy and never tell you when to sell. I will just give you some guidance. And I'm glad you took my advice on that one. AJ Goyal from Facebook wants to know about Snow and Visa. So Snowflake, I've said it before and I'll say it again. This is a stock that you trade on this weekly range. Okay. Did I take it out? Snowflake. Let's see. This is, that's a 4 hour. Okay. The weekly one right here. I didn't take it out. That's a weekly range right there. And yes, you've dipped down below that. I am holding, I think my average purchase price is like 160, 150, somewhere in that neighborhood. It's not a big position for me. Stock's trading at 140 right now. I'm not adding more. I'm not dollar costing average just in case we go lower. But the MACD, to me, super low. It's about to cross up. You might get a bullish trend out here. Your RSI at 14. At times, this one pumps to 200. You have your earnings coming up on August 19th. Software has just been beaten down. It's not a good sector. This is the range that I like to trade Snow. I've said it before. There is nothing more to tell you. What do I think about Snow? I think it's a good software platform. I think it's incredibly expensive. When it pops to 200, I'll sell it again. If it goes to 250, oh well, I missed out. But when it pops anywhere close to 200, I'm